opposite sex, that a no means a no, and it is very, very important for them to understand boundaries. Okay, and these boundaries, you build them as young as they are. When you're there with your kid and you've told them that, you know what, you're not supposed to get into my bedroom before you knock. And you see, these are boundaries you're creating. You cannot wear your sister's, dresses, or wear your brother's clothes without their permission. These are boundaries you're creating. And when you create them as young as they are, they grow up with that. Okay, and when you develop these boundaries in them, they also understand the aspect of respecting other people's things, other people's bodies, other people's decision. When a girl says no, it means a no. When a boy says no, it means a no, and it should be respected as such. Don't try to misinterpret it or to interpret it in your own thinking. Okay, and that is one thing that I believe it is important for us to tell our kids. Another thing that we need to tell them is the consequences of the choices they make. Okay, I tell my kids, even Solomon, yes, Solomon made a choice of having Bathsheba, someone else's wife, and there were consequences. Okay, there were consequences. Every choice you make, it doesn't matter whether it is good or bad, it has consequences. I give my kids that every day. If you decide to take tea with milk or tea without milk, they both have consequences. Okay, and these things, we just learn them from the small things that they experience each and every day. Sometimes I tell them that you're not going to watch a certain program, and I tell them the reason why they can't watch that program. We talk about it, and sometimes I tell them, and sometimes they come and tell me that, you know what, mom, we watched this, and I didn't have a very good night. I either struggled in my sleep and all that, and I tell them, everything has a consequence. Every decision you make has a consequence, and our children need to know that. They need to know that if they decide to get into a relationship and they decide to engage in sex, there is consequences, and consequences come with responsibilities. Okay, a consequence will come with responsibilities. It doesn't matter whether it was good or bad, responsibilities are there. So I think we need to develop that in them as early as possible, and at that point I don't know if it is appropriate for you to introduce, contraceptive to your kid at that moment, because I'm talking about a teen maybe who is in their 16 17 years old and so on. Why? Because I know so many of us, we are what do we call it, we are rigid. Okay, we are rigid with our background, and with our culture, with our religion and so on. But believe me, these kids know these things, and they get them from the wrong sources, and they get them from with very bad values in them. I